Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about games and how they can offer you a much better alternative to learning. Now, while this may be the title, that games are a better way to learn, by no means am I stating that we should do away with the already existent education system. Instead, I want to point out the obvious pros and cons of our education system, talk about its evolution, and then talk about gaming. Not only video games, but board games as well. I want to say how games have managed to implement the skills and the ways of teaching that our education system is still trying to implement into itself. So, where did I get the idea? I'm great friends with a man who made one of the most influential games in the 90s, a game by the name of Vampire the Masquerade. I met this man in my school when he was teaching an elective about storytelling. And that's a photo with me and him and many of our friends. We started playtesting this new game that he had, and over the time that we were doing this, I truly fell in love with everything gaming. We played and played and played and never stopped, sometimes even going into the very late hours of the night. And after we were done playtesting, he offered me an internship at his company, which I accepted. And even to this day, I'm working there. Games have changed my life, but I want to tell you how they can change yours. Because games are very good at doing what the circle of learning is telling you to do. So to learn, we have to start with active experimentation. If you have a theory, something you want to learn, the first thing you do is start playing around with that thing and keep on to that word, playing. We then move on to a concrete experience. So after playing around with something, experimenting and experimenting, we move on to something true. We apply it to practice. And once we apply it, we have to reflect upon it afterwards. Because it is when we reflect that we learn the most. We see what we did right, we see what we did wrong, and we see what we have to do next time. So we conceptualize it and do it all again. Now, the evolution of us learning is the same as any evolution. Games have went through an evolution. Mangala, the first game recorded in human history, was very simple and yet very strict in its rules. Inherently, that's a bad thing. The more strict a system is, the less it leaves for the player or a student to maneuver through it. When the education system was developed to train factory workers in the industrial era. It was developed with standardized testing. It was developed with the idea that you have to become something specifically that the system entails. We are evolving and evolving from Mangala and from the education system of the Industrial Revolution to the games that we have today and the systems that we have today, such as IB or even the American systems and many more. So today we play games like Werewolf and many other games, and these games don't even look like they're games. When you look at someone playing Werewolf, you just see a couple of people sitting around the table, speaking, having fun, socializing, and discussing. So why is this important? As Master Yoda put it, the greatest teacher failure is, or failure is the greatest teacher. The idea is you cannot learn something without doing it, and you cannot do something without failing in it. And the one problem that our education system has is you fail and you are truly strictly punished. Fail is a grade. It's an F. You get an F and you may not get into a good college. You don't get into a good college, you may not have a good career. Now, we are trying to improve this, and we are succeeding. However, it's not yet achieved what games have managed to achieve. When you play games, more likely board games than video games, you can do it over and over and over again and fail with minimal consequence. Because at the end of the day, you just lose a round of checkers. But if you lose in school, you lose. You may not go far, and there are ways of going around that, but it becomes much more difficult. So, what to do? Don't do away with the education system, that's not the answer, but implement gaming in your life. Are you interested in politics? Play democracy. Are you interested in becoming an actor, joining the industry, or just simply getting better social skills? Play Dungeons and Dragons. Are you interested in maybe economics, resource management, and so forth? play Catan and just general socializing and detective work, you can play Werewolf. And these are just 4 examples. There are hundreds and hundreds of games that can help you develop any skill that you need to develop. And if there isn't a game, which I truly doubt, make your own. Get some friends together, start playing. Because it is through play that we can make these games our playgrounds. A playground to learn. That's what school's supposed to be. We are attending schools, we are doing something, we are doing it over and over again. We are given concrete experiences, and we don't have, but the thing is we are not given the ability to fail, because we're strictly punished. Games let you fail. And I'm sure you've seen this. You've seen Stranger Things. This is Dungeons and Dragons. A couple of years ago, this is what I looked like with my friends. We sat around the table, we rolled some dice, and I was falling in love with something that I didn't even know I would fall in love with. Acting, directing, just the acting industry. That's where I want to go, and that's what interests me. But this isn't just a personal experience. I believe that everything that you say needs to have some evidence behind it. So about Dungeons and Dragons, many great actors have, through their lives, practiced acting and practiced what they do through playing D&D or many other role-playing games. Because I was sitting around the table and I was just speaking with my friends. I was making up characters. I was truly immersing myself in those characters. And I realized after a couple of years, I'm acting. And then I went out on stage on a couple plays and I realized, well, that's what I want to do. And that's the process that many actors, not only Vin Diesel, have went through. So if there's anything you can take away from what I just spoke about, is that if you're passionate about something, you have to stay passionate. And if you want to learn about how to be better at those passions, you can keep playing. Thank you very much.